Why is a top US general accusing Burkina Faso's leader of hoarding gold for his own protection? No evidence, no follow-up, just a claim and a firestorm across Africa. Is this about corruption or control? Hello, I am Samia Mohammed and this is Analytica Today. Earlier this month, US General Michael Langley, the commander of AFRICOM, stood before the US Senate and said this Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, is using his country's gold reserves to sustain his junta instead of helping the people. The statement hit like a grenade, especially in African circles, from Ouagadougou to Addis. Many say it's a smear, others see something deeper. The US trying to hold on to influence and a region slipping out of its grip. Today, we are breaking down the roots of this story, why is it triggering such a reaction, and what it says about the future of African sovereignty. Let's start here. To understand the anger, we have to rewind. During the Cold War, Africa was battleground for influence. The US backed regimes, coups, and strongmen, not for democracy, but to block the Soviets. In the 1990s and the early 2000s, Washington rebranded its focus. Terrorism. Inter-AFRICOM, America's Africa Command, formed in 2007 to counter violent extremism and stabilize the continent. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Since AFRICOM's arrival, terrorism in the Sahel has surged. Burkina Faso alone has over 2 million people displaced due to violence, according to the UN. Gold mines, crucial to its economy, have turned into battleground. Add to that NATO's 2011 Libya intervention, which tore open a power vacuum across West Africa. And let's not forget the CFA franc, a colonial-era currency still controlled by France, draining value out of West African economies. So when the US speaks out about governance or misuse of resources, many Africans hear something else: hypocrisy. Now back to that claim. General Langley told US senators that Traoré is diverting gold revenues to his protection, his junta, but here's the thing, he offered no public evidence. This isn't happening in vacuum. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have formed the alliance of Sahel states, expelling French forces and rejecting Western influence. Just weeks prior to the Langley statement, Burkina Faso granted mining licenses to Russia's Norgold, eyeing high gold prices to fuel its economy. That's a red flag in Washington. But for many Africans, Langley's statement feels like an old playbook. Discredits popular leaders, especially when they defy Western orders. South Africa's AFF party called the accusation a blatant attempt to undermine a government they say is building even under sanctions. And all of this comes as the US pulling back from Africa. Trump's Liberation Day tariffs hit African exports hard, from cocoa to textiles. Now embassies are being closed, aid being cut, so why make this bold accusation now when the US seems to be retreating? Is it a warning shot or a last-ditch effort to stay relevant? Let's talk about what's really at stake. Africans are fed up with foreign troops, with economic meddling, with being lectured by the very powers that destabilized and exploit the continent. From TikTok to Twitter, the anger is visible. People are saying this isn't about gold, it's about who gets to lead Africa into the future. Traoré, for all his flaws, represents something new to many young Africans, a leader who kicked out colonial forces and said, "We will take it from here." His government, local reports say, is using gold revenues to build schools and clinics. Meanwhile, Russia steps in with investment and no lectures. But here's the risk. If Washington responds with more pressure, sanctions, covert operations, or even regime change tactics, we could see another collapse. Burkina Faso is already on edge. One wrong move could trigger more violence, more refugees, more chaos. Yet through it all, Africa's youth are rising, demanding a future shaped by them, not by Paris, not by Washington, not by Moscow. So here's the bottom line. Langley's gold accusation isn't just about finances, it's about power. The US is losing influence across Africa, and as the Sahel turns east to Russia, to China, the old guard in Washington is getting nervous. But America's credibility is shaky. The world remembers Iraq's false WMDs, it remembers Libya's bombed, broken, and left in chaos. Africa, Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, leaders cut down, movements crushed. Africa remembers Gaddafi, dragged through the streets after NATO's war, his dream of African unity buried with him. It sees AFRICOM's footprint and the rising terror attacks that followed. So when a US general points fingers at Traoré, people ask, where was the concern when the region was drowning in foreign-backed chaos? Where was the concern when France was taking out the gold? Burkina Faso is the flashpoint, but the whole continent is watching. And from the Horn of the Sahel, young Africans are demanding something bold. A future they define. The question is, will the world let them? What do you think? Is the US safeguarding democracy or just protecting its turf? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading them. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more content like this. I am Samia Mohammed, and this is Analytica Today. See you next time.